and welcome to The Bomb Filter, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to determine the worst movie ever made. We take bad movies and put them through a series of tests to decide just that. I'm your host, Chris Ackman. I'm joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci. Hey, Rob, how are you, and why are we doing this?
Okay, so how I'm doing, you know how the Joker has damaged written across his forehead?
I do.
That's how I am right now, because we watched Suicide Squad. So why are we doing this? Is to find out, I look at all these characters, we can get into this later, but
yeah,
they're all supposed to be like damaged, manipulative sociopaths who are hell-bent on destruction, but as you get into the movie, they all seem to have pretty hard moral codes and ethics they don't waver from. So we're here to unpack the confusion. We're here to unpack the confusion, I think. And
I don't know how great a job we can even do on that, but we'll try our best.
Yeah.
Why don't we get a feel for the 2016 sort of vibe around this movie with some bad reviews from that time.
Okay.
All those many years back. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter. A puzzling, confused undertaking that never becomes as cool as it thinks it is. Suicide Squad assembles an all-star team of supervillains and then doesn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Very, very accurate. That's kind of what you were saying is, at least it doesn't seem to me like they have any idea who the characters are that they're trying to write for.
Yeah, it seems, and a big part about it too is like with this being as big a budget film as I'm guessing it's a big budget film, no one wants to be there.
Yeah, it does have that feel.
Yeah.
There's a couple of performances that I'm not gonna ding too bad, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
All right. Tim Grierson of Screen Daily, boasting a darker, more nihilistic streak than the typical comic book film. This Warner Brothers release has its kinky pleasures and some amusing nastiness, but in the final analysis, there's simply too much flexing and empty attitude, and far too much self-congratulation for how edgy it thinks it is.
Yeah, it's anybody wearing JNCOs in high school.
Yes, it is, but I mean, that was like 2004 or 5.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. It's like the parents of a JNCO kid got into film production and they thought, like, in a misguided attempt to like capture the youth of today.
Yeah.
They captured the youth of yesterday.
I'm surprised the movie wasn't full of like corn songs.
Go right before that.
All right. So I've got one more, but this is actually a positive review.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet that this person, the author's name I didn't jot down, is from USA Today, and I don't want to get in trouble. So,
okay,
I'm willing to bet that they were on the take, though.
Okay.
Leto's weirdo take on the Crown Prince of Crime is a far cry from the late Heath Ledger, though it definitely works. A tattooed Tony Montana type, this Joker is a nightclub owner with a thing for bling and a psychopathic determination to find his main squeeze. His relatively brief screen time leaves you wanting more, and Leto and Robbie make a distinctly dynamic duo in their fleeting scenes together.
That's a load of hog shit. Are we watching the same movie? Are we watching the same movie?
That's how I felt. I was just reading reviews, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
No,
I just thought it would be interesting because it was widely made fun of, this movie, I think. So I think this person might have taken a check under the table at dinner.
Probably. You know what I did hear, though? I hear Jared Leto or Leto, whatever his last name is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What I did hear was, because apparently he is a pretty good method actor. I mean, he was great in Requiem for a Dream, and he's had other roles where he does a good job. But apparently his off-camera antics were like way more crazy than on the screen. Apparently, like, he was like going into like the dressing rooms and leaving dead rats in people's lockers and like practicing his laugh like maniacally throughout the day. And it's just, so I guess it's kind of cool, but it's also like, dude, you're a dick. Like,
that's just really annoying.
Yeah,
I would hate him.
Mm-hmm. I do hate him.
And I think I do. Yeah. So do you have any YouTube comments this week?
Yeah, but like they're so short and pithy. Let's see. So the first one is from Palmy Rabbit. So Slipknot will live longer in extended cut. Let's see. Okay, here's a positive one, I guess. I'm so getting this for my Christmas present on day one.
Day one, Christmas. So like on Christmas.
I guess like out of the 12 days of Christmas, the first day they're going to get that, and then like 7 days of milking, and then 5 golden rings.
Okay.
And then this trailer was so much better than James Gunn's Suicide Squad trailer, but the movie will be definitely better by James Gunn, no doubt in it.
Okay, that sounds like the target audience for this movie right there.
And then my last one is, are we sure using the word batter is a selling point? So that was for the trailer.
All right, nice. All right, let's do the budget botch watch.
Okay.
So since this is no longer a test, I've written down 3 things that I think they totally wasted money on.
Okay.
And maybe I'll swing it to you, see if you have a mention or two.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3 is the ensemble cast that they didn't need because no one got screen time.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the insane CGI from the 3 helos, as they call them in the movie, that all go down. And the Enchantress's CGI that I'm sure was not cheap.
No, that looked like it cost a penny.
Yeah. And then my number 1 is the fucking soundtrack, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane how many hit songs they have, and it's like ADHD pumped in there. It's like every few minutes there's another hit song in there, and I can't even begin to imagine how much money they had to spend on it.
Yeah.
Just for the sound.
Yeah, and it's the amount of audio that gets played during the show, as well as like how much screen time the main actors get. They have the same problem where it's like, I highly doubt that Will Smith and Jared Leto were even on the set on the same days interacting with each other.
Yeah. No, probably not. Right?
It was such a big production that there was enough separate parts where none of them actually had to like lock together to make the whole happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm sure that that's true. So they probably had just shooting days for the people who they felt like needed to be there. So it wouldn't be surprising at all because the chemistry of the casts definitely didn't transfer to the movie.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything you want to mention for waste of money?
Well, I was talking about the helicopter crashes and like that entire subway sequence where the subway's getting split in half by like the tentacles.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't write that down, but that was fun. Pretty funny.
Just the overall, I think the overall bigness of this movie was a waste of money. Like they had the whole Armageddon sequence where they're introducing each person and they're like showing how they got incarcerated and they're running from the cops. And you could have just folded that shit in with dialogue. When I forget her name, she played Annalise Keating in How to Get Away with Murder. The lady who put the whole squad together. Viola Davis, yes. Yeah. The whole thing is she could have folded it in with dialogue. She could have walked up to the prison and been like, he did this, then that, show the clip, and then whatever. But like this whole overarching, let's show how they all got here. It's if you're not using any of that stuff, you're not using it. No. So why are you doing it? And
then you have to pay Ben Affleck to show up just to be in Will Smith's, like, maybe they wanted that. But as you say, the first half hour of the movie is character introduction, and then the second half hour of the movie is character introduction again.
Yeah, and being a writing major and actually graduating in that field, every professor has always told me it's you need to show, not tell, and also it's if there's a knife in the first act, you don't want the knife in the first act. You want a body in the first act. You don't. You want to find the body, then locate the knife. You don't want to start with the knife. And I feel like this movie started with the knife.
Well, those are good lessons to keep. And I'm sad that David Ayer, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't use those tried and true, writing techniques.
Yeah.
Let's get into test number 1.
All right.
The Keystone apparatus. So in this one, we establish a sort of ecosystem for the movie, in that we find the movies surrounding it in the customers always watch section of whatever streaming platform we watch the movie on. In this case, HBO. So we take those movies, we look up their critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes so that we can compare the current movie, in this case, Suicide Squad, to the average that we get from all of those movies to determine whether or not it's a keystone predator or just not important to the sort of movie ecosystem.
Okay.
So here are the movies. Oh, let's get into it. The keystone apparatus.
Oh, I don't have the bumper for that, so I'm gonna make I'm gonna make one tonight, and I'll throw it in.
Dude, don't worry. I just wasn't sure, so I was like, let me throw it out there, and we'll see. We should keep that in.
All right, sounds good. Keep it rolling. Next week, guys, we'll have a keystone apparatus. We'll fire it up.
Yeah. That moment of like, we're not sure what the other person is doing. Like there's no video for the pod, so it's going to be awkward silence, but just imagine what Rob and I look like and imagine us staring at each other awkwardly. Okay, number 1, Venom with Tom Hardy. Did you see that one?
I didn't. And let me disclose something here right now. This is a DC property. The only other DC property I've seen in the 2000s is Man of Steel, and I have not seen a single Marvel property.
Okay. They know now. You're going to get some flack if people keep listening.
Yes, and having seen this, I'm not sure if I ever want to watch another comic book property again.
I don't blame you. Let me just say, for all my film and like comic book nerds out there, the Marvel Universe movies are so much better. They're not comparable.
Maybe I'll give it a try. Then.
They are not comparable in any way. Venom with Tom Hardy got a 30.
Okay.
It was really bad. I did watch it. I tend to like comic book movies, but that's because I watched the Marvel ones. So when I branched out to see DC, because I was like, oh, this is like edgier, this is darker, maybe I'll like it even more. Yeah. They're all bad. Come at me, audience. Like, tell me which one I should see. Maybe Wonder Woman is like pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Aquaman, Jason Momoa got a 65. That surprised me. That's one of the DC. But I thought that was bad too. Catwoman with Halle Berry. That's 2004. So that's like back when we were wearing Chico jeans.
Yes.
That got a number 9. 9%. Grown Ups with Adam Sandler got an 11. I'm not sure why that was suggested. Shazam with Zachary Levi or Levy got a 90.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always seeing the picture for that movie, and it just doesn't. It's just a guy like in a super suit, like leaning against the letters in his name or something, and it just doesn't grab my attention.
There's that whole Mandela effect thing too, where we all thought it was Kazam with Shaq. Which is actually I fucking love that movie. So.
Well, when you grow up watching certain movies,
I'm not going to revisit it because I don't want to taint the image. I don't want to tarnish it. So,
well, we might have to do it for the pod.
I'll do it for the pod.
That got a 90. So Rampage with The Rock got a 51. Mm-hmm. That's the one where he has like a giant gorilla, like fight a giant lizard or some shit.
Yeah.
And then finally R.I.P.D. with Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds. Do you remember that?
That's when the detectives die and they're like ghost detectives, right?
Yeah, I think that so it's like Men in Black basically, but not for aliens, for like dead people.
Okay.
So like the police of the Beetlejuice universe.
I remember wanting to check it out, but I didn't, but just because I like Jeff Bridges.
I do too.
But I didn't see it.
It got a 12, so don't see it.
Okay.
And I won't either.
Sounds
unless everyone demands that we do. Anyway, tallied all those up, divided it by 7 because that's the number of movies, and we got a average of 38%.
Okay.
Would you like to guess what Suicide Squad got?
Like 18, 15?
That's a good guess. It actually got a 26.
Okay.
So that's a score of negative 12%. That's going to go up against our Keystone from last week. I believe it was a negative 19% from Street Fighter.
All right.
So as we start to look at more of these Keystone apparatus tests, we'll get a feel for what a high score is. But I'm willing to bet negative 19 is pretty high.
Yeah, I'd venture to say so.
Let's get into test number 2, the elevator movie plot pitch.
Okay.
For this one, we've decided that an easy way to determine the strength of a movie is to summarize its plot as succinctly as possible. So the gold standard plot pitch for the bomb filter is Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Short, clear, and easy to understand, Jurassic Park can be accurately summarized in as little as 10 seconds. When summarized, bad movies are convoluted, unclear, and lengthy. To help us determine how bad our subject is, we compare its plot pitch to that of our 10-second standard. Any seconds past 10 adds to our scores, so we also administer a star rating just for the quality of the plot itself. Okay. That helps us to decide when it's tight, when the seconds are tight, what movie did worse for that test. So let's get into it. Test number 2, the elevator movie plot pitch.
Hey, I gotta show you my script for this movie that I just came up with. It's have you ever seen Top Gun? It's like the guy from Top Gun, but he works at a mall. And
okay, so it's a nice
he's trying to hand out this little lotion package as a sample. Hey, sir, I know you're in a hurry. Would you try that?
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Agent Amanda Waller is consumed by the thought of an evil Superman. What would the fate of Earth be in the event of an attack by such a being? As of yet, no villain has had such power, but what if? To combat such a villain, Agent Waller and specialist Rick Flag combined efforts to create a ragtag team of villains who may be less powerful than evil Superman, yes, but together could be strong enough to take imaginary him down. Waller discovers an accident and accidentally releases a being very ancient, mysterious, and powerful. In the process, the Enchantress brings her even more powerful brother back from the dead, and the two plan to dominate Earth. The team of supervillains must now take on Waller's evil creation for the fate of the world. Will they beat back the powerful siblings? Can they get along? Was any of this at all necessary? No, but hey, the graphics are good.
55 seconds.
Okay, so 10-second standard, so that's a 45?
Yeah.
Is that okay? 45. I'm sorry for making that so lengthy.
I think you had to.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
On the bright side, it was very descriptive, so I'll give you 3 stars. It was.
Thank you. Okay.
It was a good. I know what I'm getting into. It's better than like the back of the VHS treatment. That was actually nice and succinct and something that I could grasp the concept. Yeah.
All right. Good. So we feel like people know what they're getting into for this review for this big old podcast we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 stars, interesting. So that's going to make our fight against Street Fighter pretty fun later.
Okay.
We'll get into it when we get into it.
Nice.
As for now, why don't we get into test number 3, the indefensible dialogue counter. And this one's really easy. This test gathers the horrible lines of dialogue into a collection that is then tallied to give us our score. So I'm going to read you the lines, Rob, and you're going to defend them.
Okay.
But if you can't defend them, we're going to tally it. And that will give us a score. So let's get into test number 3, the indefensible dialogue counter.
Something that makes absolutely no sense. Something similarly stupid.
Okay, number 1. Deadshot. You remember in the beginning? Mm-hmm. He's in his prison cell and he gets food from that guard, that asshole guard guy.
Yeah.
And he says, "What is this?" And the guard says, "Toenails, rat shit, everything a grown man needs, like you." It's not even properly structured.
Yeah.
It should be everything a grown man like you needs.
Exactly. I'm not going to defend it. And also, he should have just left it at loaf when he said loaf.
Loaf. All right, number 2. The daughter of Deadshot, to Deadshot. "Mama says I can't live with you because you kill people."
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, she's not.
But also, why are they like they're still allowed to have interactions through some leap of logic? So I guess I'm not going to defend the dialogue because by virtue of their situation, the dialogue should have never happened.
I agree. Number 3, this is written dialogue, okay?
Okay.
You remember how, like, all of the characters are sort of introduced and they just have, like, a little blurb? It's really more visually interesting, and I don't think you're really supposed to read them because they flash really quick.
I read them.
But,
go on.
Okay. I have a pause button they might have failed to realize, so that's what I did with the Enchantress.
Okay.
When she's introduced, it says, "The Enchantress, a.k.a. Dr. June Moon," which I hate. I know a lot of superhero AKAs are annoying and stupid, and often suggest Kevin Electricity happens to be the Shockmaster or something, something stupid like that. It also said extra dimensional entity, age 6,373.
Yep.
Relatives, incubus, brother, currently in a jar.
Yeah, it did say that. It did say all that.
So how do you like that? You feel like that those are the things they should have detailed for us?
Of all the things in the movie that they should or shouldn't have done, I actually kind of enjoyed those. Especially the spot. I think it was the Boomerang guy, Senor Boomerang, or whatever the fuck his name is. When it says he's really into unicorn porn, and then during one of the raids he gets shot and a stuffed unicorn flies out of his jacket, and he grabs it and stuffs it back in.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't even catch that.
So I mean, I just liked it because it did set up some bits, some visual bits later in the movie. So I'll defend it just for just solely for entertainment value.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, Agent Waller of Rick Flag. I have the witch's heart, and Dr. Moon has his. Now he'll follow my orders as holy writ.
They could have done better.
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't know. They didn't really explain it.
No, they didn't. So she just assumes it's kind of like when Guile last week was like, Sagat's going to run against Bison, so he must know where he is. Yeah. What is this? What is the bridge that got you there?
Yeah, they left out context clues that would clue the viewer into anything. So I'm assuming if there was a director's cut, it might be more clear. But since we watched a theatrical cut like regular people, we didn't catch anything.
I think they also just assume that the audience is going to allow for bullshit like that.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's the thing I don't like about the comic book movies is because they borrow from the comic books, but they take so many liberties. So if there's something they don't put on screen, there's going to be some nerd actually in issue number 7F49, there was a allusion to whatever. So I'm going to get my ass kicked in the freaking email.
Yeah.
They conveniently leave things out that some nerd will bring back in at Comic-Con. So it could have been that.
Yeah, or any educated movie viewer might be annoyed by.
Yeah,
just for its inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit, I guess I am sort of a comic book nerd, so I'm getting annoyed. So not defended, right?
Not defended.
Okay, number 5, the same guard, right? Deadshot holds a gun to his face. He said, "Ames, if this man shoots me, I want you to kill him and then go delete my browser history."
It just seemed like they were scrolling through average people's Twitters for jokes to punch the script up.
Yeah, agreed. I knew that was a joke. I understood it was meant to be funny. I didn't find it funny, so I wrote it down.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend it. They could have thought of something funny. They have how many people on their payroll writing the script and punching it up and writing jokes?
So many, dude. Do you see the credits? Hundreds of people worked on this movie. And not one of them could have written a better joke than that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Deadshot. I like to do this. He says, "What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?"
And then he looks at the camera like it's some sort of hot tub time machine.
Yeah. What do you think?
We know what movie we're watching. We don't need that dialogue at all.
Thank you. Okay, 5 for 6. Flag to the group about Katana, right? I would advise not getting killed by her. Her sword traps the souls of its victims.
Yeah, and her boyfriend's in that sword.
Yeah, we didn't know that yet, but
we didn't. Yeah,
I didn't like its exposition. It's very, very lazy.
Yeah, they could have, if they were going to do a giant fold-in montage for every other character, they could have added some for her too.
Yeah, or just show her kill somebody, and then a blue soul comes sapping out of it.
Yeah, do it Shang Tsung style from the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, number 8. I have more written dialogue.
Okay.
Something you might have mentioned already. I wrote down Joker's forehead tattoo. It says damaged.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you don't want to defend that.
No, it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. I don't have like any descriptive, funny ways to take it down. It's just fucking stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
It's very nu metal.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, nu metal was a very popular form, and we've referenced one before, but there's a whole bunch of like grimy kind of slow metal that's cheesy and just appeals to people that might have a tattoo on your forehead.
It's because it's got the butt grooves and the charismatic front man who you think's going to snap at any second because he's crazy in the head.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it's all an act. They just know that teenagers will eat up shit like that because they're angsty. So they really are just pretending to be adults that are super angsty, but they're not. They're just making money.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 9. Harley, after that other villain has his head blown off, she says, "Now that's a killer app."
I mean, she could have said something. She could have said something worse. I'm not going to defend it, but I so wanted her character to deliver the goods on like the funny, like, because she was the most convincingly crazy out of all the characters. But even then, it was still very phoned in.
Yeah, somebody that USA Today person who wrote that article somewhere in there was like, "This is Margot Robbie's star turn that we were all expecting," and I was like, "This." Yeah. I think because she looks incredible, that might be true. Yeah. But it's not because of her line delivery. You can't deliver lines well with a dialogue that bad.
Yeah.
It's just written so poorly. You can do your best, and I feel like Will Smith did a really good job. Actually,
he did a great job. I think he was the strongest point in the entire movie, which we'll probably touch on a little later. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay, so that is our number 9. So far, we have 8. So that means that you did defend 1. So I ticked that off already.
Okay.
Okay. Same spot there. Flag after blowing the guy up. Right. Same guy that had his head blown off. He says, "Okay. Do you want to keep playing Hollywood Squares of I'll blow your heads off?"
Once again, it was like they were scrolling through Twitter of people like you and me who are just like popping off jokes at 3 a.m. because we can't sleep that aren't funny. No. Well, I'm speaking for myself mostly. That's what I do.
This particular line was not funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are 9 for 10 after that one. Okay. I've got a few more.
All right.
Joker to Harley. "Careful. Do not say this oath thoughtlessly. Desire becomes surrender. Surrender becomes power. Do you want this?" She says, "Yes." He says, "Say it. Say it. Say it. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Please? Oh, God. You're so good. Ah, 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 ah." How do you feel about that?
And then he pushed her into an IPA.
Yeah.
It's the whole, I hate him. I don't like him. He's stupid.
I hate him so much. I'm going to do my best to do an impression of him, as you just noticed, but believe me, there's more dialogue I'll be delivering with the laugh, so I hope you're not.
Please do. Yeah, take it off. Can I go on a quick tangent about Jared Leto real quick? All right, I used to and still kind of do play in bands. In Hartford, Connecticut, there's a venue called the Webster Theater, and they have the Webster Underground. If you book a show at the Underground and sell the most tickets, you get to open for the national act that's playing the main stage. So what my band did was we had 30 tickets, 5 members. We each spent $60 and bought our own tickets and then just like threw them out basically.
Oh, okay.
And,
nice.
And we got to open for 30 Seconds to Mars. I didn't get to meet them or anything, but we were standing like front and center watching them play. This was like in 2007 or something like that.
Good exposure too.
Oh yeah, it was fucking fun. And they walk out stage wearing like the upside down, like we're robbing a saloon bandanas on their face with that, like, you know, that like demon music coming out. And they come out and start playing like their pop 30 Seconds to Mars songs. And the audience is like 14-year-old girls, like 16-year-old girls, and like, you know, other bands and stuff like that. And And it was the same kind of shtick. What I've learned from other people that Jared Leto, when they were smaller and opening for other bands, he would start stealing other frontmen's mannerisms and using them as his own. And he was on stage going like, "There's not enough violence in the pit. I thought this was a rock and roll show. What the fuck is going on?" Like, trying to be a frontman.
Wow.
And my band, we're just like, we want to beat traffic. We treated it like the seventh inning stretch when you like leave a baseball game early not to get traffic. And there was like a 14-year-old girl like going back to the car with her mom like crying because she got the living shit beaten out of her in a mosh pit.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
So that's the image I will forever have in my head of that guy. It's like, dude, you want 14-year-olds just getting their asses kicked at your show?
Apparently he does.
Yeah.
What a stand-up guy.
Yeah, that's my angle on him as we watch Suicide Squad. I just,
I didn't think I could hate him more, but I think you have successfully turned me against him more than I thought I could.
There's just not a genuine bone, I don't feel.
Yeah, agreed. All right, number 12. We are 10 for 11. Okay. Killer Croc, after Harley calls him ugly on the inside and outside, he goes,
"Okay,
no, not me, shorty. I'm beautiful."
I'm not going to defend that.
Okay. I think it's supposed to be funny because he's obviously not beautiful, and it's that simple, and that's not worthwhile.
Yeah, and they were going for like that weird, like cool black guy Barry White vibe when he didn't talk like that. The rest of the movie is like, "What if I talk like this?" And it just, I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, man, do it, Adewale. I actually the actor is in a show called Oz. I think it's him. And he plays this guy Simon Adebisi, and he's like a crazy badass.
Yeah.
And he's a terrible, terrible person. But you actually end up rooting for him, or at least I did. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. Okay, number 13. Flag finishes explaining that Katana's husband is trapped inside the sword, and that she talks to him. And then Captain Boomerang says, "Hey, well, you know what they say about the crazy ones." And then Harley says, "Huh?" And then everybody smiles, like there was something to understand there.
I think it's because they said crazy ones, and like her ears perked up thinking they were talking about her. But it was poorly executed, so I'm going to take that off.
Okay. Last one that I have. Okay, so it's Flag talking about the Enchantress after Harley cuts her open. Her like heart is exposed. And he says, "Her heart's out. We can win this."
I have no words.
Okay, so 13 for 14. That's a pretty high score. You got any mentions?
Yes, just basically Viola Davis' character.
Yeah.
Just I don't want to bring up too many of these because it might come up in a later segment that you may have caught.
Okay. Yeah.
But when she's recruiting and starting the Suicide Squad, there's lots of like, "Well, we're going to fight fire with fire." Well, you can walk the walk, but can you talk the talk? Like just every single line in this like 4-minute dialogue exchange was just cliche after cliche after cliche. And how do you squeeze all these into one paragraph?
Do you want to take a collective tally?
Make a collective tally for that. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, that's great. This is going to be an interesting showdown later. Yeah. That actually gives us 14 for the score, and that's pretty high. So we'll see how that fares against Street Fighter later.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into test number 4. One of my favorites for sure, the Emotometer Overspill.
Okay.
So for the Emotometer Overspill, we take a piece of custom equipment we refer to as the Emotometer. The Emotometer can be fine-tuned to the emotional output of the actor in question. When activated, the meter measures a peak of emotion displayed by the actor in a given scene and compares it to the range of genuine human emotion a person would actually display. So 10 cages is the maximum score. Cages refers, of course, to our friend Nicolas Cage. Any more than 10, and we record the result. So let's get into it. The Emotometer Overspill.
You blow a fuse, sing from the time we cut loose.
The Emotometer Overspill, where screaming is king.
Wow! A fire.
Okay, so number 1, Deadshot's daughter. I'm starting here because it's one of those funny, like, just dead actor trying to act.
Yeah.
He says, Daddy, I know you do bad things. I still love you. As flat as all that. It actually only registered a -5. Didn't even... So the emotometer was not happy.
The needle actually broke off in the negative.
Yeah, in the wrong direction. I just had to mention, because I hate child actors for the most part.
Yeah.
Joker to Dr. Quinn. There is something you can do for me, Doctor. You could get me a machine gun. She says, a machine gun? And the Joker goes, ah. That got a 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he'll be back in this test.
Okay.
You were going to say something?
It's like low key, but it's just nauseating.
It really is. Okay, here he is again. Joker to Harley in the Hilo, because they keep calling it that. By the way, I've got some grape soda on ice and bearskin rug waiting.
Yeah.
Did you know he said that?
Yeah, he said that right before he crashes, right? And
yeah.
What's he trying to do? Seduce her with a good, sober, good bareback time on the rug?
Yeah. I don't think he had a scene where he wasn't overacting, so that was a low register at 17.
Okay.
The emometer. Number 4, Killer Croc to Rick Flag upon first meeting him. So Flag is outside his cage, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you ain't scared? And Flag says, why'd they put you down here? And then Killer Croc says, I asked. That registered in 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're climbing here, bud. Okay, we got another Joker line. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Joker to the henchman in, like, the villa or whatever.
Okay.
Bring the car around. We're going for a drive. Then he lays down and he goes, because he's supposed to sound like, damn it, like, oh, damn it. He's supposed to sound broken because Harley's gone. Yeah. So at the end he goes, ee. Yeah, that registered a 20 when I plugged that one in.
It's like they're on the last like 5 minutes of film they had in the can, and they're like, once we're out of this film, they're not sending us anymore. And he acted it wrong, and then like opens one eye and
just like, thumbs up, man. You killed it. Okay, this one is Waller to Flag. Flag threatens to make some calls so that he doesn't have to work for Waller anymore because she's such a dirtbag, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, there you go. Call. But without you minding her, your lady friend stays in a drug-induced coma. Flag then says, they warned me about you. My dumbass didn't believe the stories. Waller says back, nobody does. Intense stare. Another 20 on the register. I thought, and she is, I think, pretty well received as an actress. I think
she's fucking phenomenal in How to Get Away with Murder. I watched all 6 seasons of that.
Yeah. Aaron really likes it, so I trust that that's true. And she, whenever I hear some, podcast talking about her or something, everybody always has a glowing review. She says that she's a great actress, but I didn't think she did well in this movie personally.
Well, I realized too, this came out in 2016, so probably had a production run of 2014 or 15. And that's when How to Get Away with Murder was just starting. So she could have very well shot this as one of her last minor extra bits before really honing her chops and really nailing it out on that show.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It seemed to me like she and Flag were just like one note. We're the like the actual bad guys because we're like the government. Seemed that simple to me. Mm-hmm. So she's not multi-layered. She's just like, I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done.
She's the one-dimensional character, like in like the guy trying to mine the unobtainium in Avatar. It's like, yes, I have suspenders and a nice suit and my hair slicked back. I'm clearly a piece of shit. And she was like kind of the analog in this film to that. Yeah,
perfect. That about sums it up, I think. Okay, number 5, the Enchantress. It's our time in the sun. The sun is setting, and the metahumans are a sign of change. Brother, make them bow to me. Bad dialogue, but also overacted. Plugged it in, got a 21. We're climbing slowly, but we're getting there.
Okay.
You think I adjusted the equipment correctly? 21 sounds about right?
I'd say 21 because I think it ramps up a little bit still, so that gives us room.
It does. Okay, another Joker line. I hope you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
He comes in, and the guard who's like playing poker has been brought into the kitchen to be intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up behind the guard and he goes, blah, 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 blah. All of that chit-chat's going to get you hurt. Then he smacks both of his shoulders, and he goes, Then he has the guard kiss the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he kisses the ring, Joker straddles him and says, I can tell you meant that. You're going to be my friend. And then it cuts, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like Leto, whatever his name is, thought that just by doing Heath Ledger but looking totally different, people would think that he was totally different?
I don't think. Well, that's a loaded question because I don't think he was doing Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger was like he method acted a literal sociopath and like nailed it. He died like probably doing that role.
That is the speculation. I feel like the voice quality and he's not doing a good job, and the character doesn't call for that because the character is like a kingpin.
Yeah,
he's not somebody who's like wants to watch world burn, as they say in the Batman movies. He's like a guy who's has a thing about bling, right? He's a guy that wants money and to do drugs and have a lot of sex and stuff. So he shouldn't be. He should have goals.
It seems like he's like 26 years old and secretly working at Subway and not telling his friends because he's waiting until he's 30 when the trust fund kicks in.
Yeah, right.
And then when he can finally go to Firefest. That's right. What I got from him.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. I felt like Leto's like voice quality was pretty similar, but the characters, they don't make sense at all. You know, like They're not the same person. Okay. Number 7, Rick Flag. He's talking to the Enchantress. He's holding the heart. He says, bring June back or I'll crush this. And then the Enchantress says, you don't have the balls. And then he grabs it with 2 hands and he just crushes it and like falls down to his knees. And then he's completely hobbled and like can't get up and walks away all defeated and like he's crying and stuff. And I when I plugged that in, I got a 22.
Let's give it 23. Bump it up.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll adjust the motometer a little bit and give it a 23. All right. Nice. Agent Waller says 10 years off your sentences when explaining what they got for all these deeds.
Yeah.
And Boomerang says 10 years off a triple life sentence. Darling, I'm walking out of here. A free man or we're starting to have some real fun. And then Waller says, why don't we have some fun? And then just like sits there and stares at him for like an awkward amount of time. And it's like supposed to be like smoldering intensity, but it is just cheese.
It's like when the newscast says, well, we'll be right back after this break. And then like they're still sitting there smiling. Yeah. And they think it's cut, but they're just like sitting there awkwardly.
They'll start like fixing their papers because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
22.
That's fair.
Yeah. Joker to Harley. You're my gift to this handsome hunka. You belong to him now. That got a 24.
That's fair. Because he just basically gave his girlfriend to some random drug dealer.
Hunka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have his way with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, here, this is the last one.
Okay.
Same sequence. Common, the gangster that he's like giving Harley to, says something about her, whatever. And Joker says, are you sweet talking me? And then he puts his hand over his mouth, and he's got the tattoo of his mouth. And he goes, I love this guy. So intense. And then he says something like, she's the fire in my loins, the itch in my crotch, the one, the only, the infamous Harley Quinn. And then she is like introduced, and that went all the way up to 26 on the emote meter. Yeah,
that's fair.
It's up there, dude.
Yeah.
So that means Joker's going to see M. Bison this week.
Okay.
But before that, we were actually asked to do the ad read before the Ask Geek Arena.
Okay, let me just get that out real quick. Today's episode of The Bomb Filter is brought to you by Sausage Sally, Sauna, and Brunch. Need to sweat out last night's indulgences while tickling yourself with the hair of the dog? Maybe you want to open your pores with one of their signature kraut wraps, regular or prohibition style. Whatever fix you need, Sausage Sally, Sauna, and Brunch will help you tie one on while you ooze your hangover-laden fluids onto a porous wooden bench with 12 other people. The beer is room temperature, but you won't care. Sausage Sally, Sauna, and Brunch, where the schnitzel is the shizzle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was trying to hold it together for that.
Oh man! Right. Who knew that they were going to reach out? Right?
They do brunch with everything these days, man.
I find myself more often than you might think.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was great. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to explain where the full-on Ass Cheek Championship came from. Because it occurred to me that on our pilot episode I explained why it's called that, and I haven't yet on our Spotify official episodes.
Sure.
So we might look a little more juvenile than we actually are for calling it that. So let me just quickly explain that I have sleep apnea, and if you don't know what that is, it's like you fall asleep if you get bored, basically. Or if you're tired, you're like a little more tired than the average person. It's just, I can't tell you exactly what's chemically wrong with me and why that goes on, but say I sit on the couch late at night and I'm not doing something like a podcast, I'm liable to fall asleep. And when I do, I am in a deep dream state, probably faster than most people are. So, my wife, trying to wake me up so that my neck isn't all messed up at night, might jolt me awake. By the way, it's been better since I've had this sleep machine I got a couple of years ago. But she used to wake me up and I would say something out loud every now and then because I was deep in a dream and I wasn't mentally awake as fast as my body was. So I was still talking as if I was in the dream for a couple of seconds before I realized that I was actually awake. So one time when she did this to me, she woke me up and at a startled, moment, I just said, I almost went full on ass cheek there. And she said, what? And I was like, I almost went full on ass cheek, and then I did the Thriller dance. And she was like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, what the hell am I talking about? The full on ass cheek. So Rob and I worked together at the same time, that this happened. So the next day I explained to him that I went full on ass cheek in my dream, not knowing, I don't remember what that was, but anyway, it became just a thing we would joke about at work. So, when we were talking about actors overacting, Rob was quick in one of our pilot episodes to say went full on ass cheek. I don't remember. Turl, probably.
Yeah.
John Travolta's
I believe it was Turl.
Might have been the first to go full on ass cheek. It's like going Super Saiyan in Dragon Ball Z. So that was the new title. That is the championship. You go full on ass cheek if you're way overacting. I just wanted to get that out there on an official episode so that people understood why we call it that. Yeah. Now you're all in the know.
Now we have a whole arena for ass cheeks.
Yeah. Now we have an arena and a fight script, and it's totally out of hand.
Yes.
But let's get into it. We're going to send it down to our guys at the arena for the full-on Ass Cheek Championship of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to Ass Cheek!
Hello and welcome back to the Ass Cheek Arena, as we are very excited to bring to you a battle of two of the most hated men in history. We have M. Bison, our champion, going to battle against the hot new up-and-comer, the Joker. Let's head down for our introductions. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends from distant nations. Introducing first the challenger, standing at an average 5'11" and weighing in at a measly 145 pounds. From Gotham City, New York, the Joker. And now, introducing your supreme leader and man of many talents. Standing at 6'4", weighing in at 200 pounds, your reigning, defending, full-on Aztec champion of the world, M. Bison. Bison quick to take flight here as it served him well in the last bout. He's flying in a straight line and he's dipping in a trajectory to suggest that he's on a wire. Boy, is he quick. Joker, though, laughing as he pulls out a machine gun. So many shots at Bison and the crowd. Many have been wounded and worse, but Joker's Tommy gun has done the trick as Bison's suit has been deflated. Bison crashes to the ground, but is up quickly to meet his foe. Strikes coming from both sides, but nothing so far has landed. Oh, a big right from the Joker, but his frame is so slight he delivers no damage. Bison's HP might still be at full capacity. Bison now connects with a swing and the Joker is sent back. Whoa, dirty move from the Joker as he tosses dirt into Bison's eyes. Joker, collecting himself, pulls out multiple knives, but seems to be fumbling them as he's attempting to wield many more than one. Bison's suit has washed the soil from his eyes, and he's back in the attack. Wow, lightning from his hands, and it's conducting in Joker's teeth. Joker laughing as he's being electrocuted by Bison. Joker struggles to pull out another gun and bang, but no, it releases a small flag that seems to read, boing. But a quick move to his jacket, and Joker sprays Bison with acid from his jacket flower. Wow, what action. Bison's face is melting, and Joker straddling him as they fall to the ground. Joker now, with another pistol, holds it to Bison. Bison grabs hold, and it's a test of strength. Bison pushing the gun at Joker. But oh, Joker got him with a shoe knife. Bison reeling. Joker aims and pow! Bison has been shot in the head. I'm not sure if a suit can bring you back from that one. Joker has gotten the best of Bison and becomes your new full-on ass-cheek champion. Back to you guys at the pod.
Wow.
Dude, underdog, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you think when he ran off from the ring, he was just going?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's unbelievable. It really is. All right, man. So we're gonna get into the later half of these tests. These tend to move a little faster. So bear with us as we get into test number 5, the poor taste detector. So this test is designed to identify and flag potential hazards created by the film crew. These hazards consist of moments of immorality, abuse, racism, phobias, and any other in poor taste scenarios. So let's get into it. Test number 5, the poor taste detector.
Oh my God, you can't say that. It's 2021.
Okay, number 1. Why did Deadshot's ex tell the daughter that he kills people?
I mean, he does.
That's true.
But I mean, when there's parents, when there's children of divorce, and the reason for the divorce is the husband kills a bunch of people and is locked up in a super max asylum, you just omit that. You lie by omission. You don't bring that stuff up.
Yeah, he's on a business trip for a couple of years. Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way.
Yeah,
your daddy's mass murderer just leads to questions you might be too young to consider, I think.
That gene might be inside of you, sweetie.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know yet. Well, I guess we'll find out. Here, hold this gun. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah. How's it feel?
Number 2, Joker's faux sex sale of Harley. I mean, he didn't go all the way, but it's still pretty gross.
Yeah. Any situation where another human's treated like sex meat, I'm not really a fan of.
I agree. I thought it was like kind of funny, I guess, but like maybe in poor taste that the Aussie supervillain he's a boomerang. He like is Captain Boomerang. He uses boomerangs.
Yeah.
Like it's just so surface level that I thought it might be considered bad taste.
Yeah, it's like having a British villain named Tea and Crumpet Man.
Number 4. Every single guy at the military camp is watching Harley Quinn change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of gave off a gross energy as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
Number 5, Joker makes the love of his life jump into acid. And that's a permanent makeup of sorts, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So she can be nice and pale skin, same way he is.
Yeah.
Not necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Number 6, Waller shoots the FBI agents that weren't cleared for any of this.
Yeah, that seems like a gross abuse of power.
Yeah, can't you just like flash their memory or something like Men in Black?
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, buddy, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7. Diablo killed his wife and kids, and we're supposed to feel for him. So just as an example of how we're supposed to feel for him, at the end, he's like, I've lost one family. I'm not losing this one. Like he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He killed his entire family. I don't feel bad for this guy at all.
Yeah, and then they're just like, come on. He's like, oh, yeah. He's fucking nuts anyways.
So stupid. Any honorable mentions? Because that's all I had.
For poor taste, not really. This movie didn't really have a ton of it that I really caught.
I agree. I mean, a lot of like shots of Harley's figure, but I mean, that's part of what draws the audience in the first place.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's Margot Robbie is magnificent.
She's good underbutt. Good underbutt.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, 7 then. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, so that's like I said, that's all I had. So we're going to move on to the next test already, if that's okay with you. Test number 6, accounting for entropy. So bad movies rely too heavily on films of the past. So when recycling an idea, a director or writer is committing to a trope. Almost every movie has one or two, but bad movies have many. We count them all up, and that helps us to evaluate the film. So test number 6, accounting for entropy.
Obvious tropes, brought to you by, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? We're gonna need a bigger boat, and well, fuck me sideways and call me Senator Blimpy.
Okay, number 1, you show up in a prison and they allow Will Smith and whoever else, Margot Robbie, to be like training in their cell.
Mm-hmm.
Like these dangerous fighting criminals are allowed to like fist fight this maid dummy or like do acrobatics on like ropes and stuff in their cells. It just happens all the time in prison that people are training when the important thing happens to happen.
Yep.
You know. Number 2, the wacky character introductions, just like Armageddon or Con Air that we, have discussed in the past.
Yeah.
Number 3, the secret meeting of high government officials at like a steak restaurant.
Yeah, and I didn't like how any of them were eating or drinking.
Oh, really? Did it make you uncomfortable?
They were all like open mouth chewing and like slugging down the wine before they swallowed. It just
yeah, because they're the man, they're evil, and that's how evil people eat.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, the back alley. Okay, so this, you tell me, is this true?
Okay.
This is something that I just feel like I've seen a bunch, but maybe I'm not in the right here. The back alley scene, like where they are coming into the casino where the guard is.
Mm-hmm.
So the shot is established first at like a low angle, and we're following like good-looking girls' butts into the. And I feel like that happens all the time because they want like that sexual signal right away. Like this is like a dirty back alley, like sexy casino. So they just show girls' butts like walking away.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, the sacrificial supervillain. So the guy that they introduced, they give him like one line, and then they blow his head off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just so like transparent. Like, oh yeah, we forgot to like tell you about this guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Check him out. He can repel from place to place. Isn't that cool? And then bang, his head's on.
Yeah.
Number 6, the aliens, the movie, we're surrounded like on the radar, but there's you can't see any of them.
Yeah.
Because they're like above you in the ceiling.
Yeah.
But aliens did that much, much better in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Number 7, of course, the countless stormtrooper moments where.
Uh-oh. You there?
I think it also applies to the helicopters where they go down, but they're totally fine.
Yeah.
Number 8, the bomb in the head controlled by the Authority. That's definitely been done before. Number 9, the money in Captain Boomerang's coat stops a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seen that a million times.
It's the police badge, the golden coin, like that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rush Hour with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Chris Tucker, like literally the second one, he puts like a wad of cash in his jacket and it gets hit with like a spear. So exactly the same. Okay, number 10, this one, super egregious. It happens all the time. The parallel walking lineup. They're all like fucking slow motion, shoulder to shoulder, so we can see every one of them. And there's something cool about it. I admit it. Every time they do it, I'm like, that looks kind of cool. That looks badass. I wish I didn't feel that way because they shouldn't get any credit.
Yeah, especially if you're going for like a stealth mission. You're like really just fanning out your visual scope.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't even considered that. I should have put that in illogical inconsistency. Number 11, the Enchantress can put visions in your head, of course. Yeah, just for that last minute defense mechanism. Just when you think you have her beat.
Yeah, just like once again, like Mortal Kombat, Shang Tsung and Liu Kang when he turned into his brother. And was like, yeah.
Oh yeah, good call. All right, number 12 and my last one. When El Diablo is like, blow it, and he's gonna die in the process.
Yeah.
The sacrifice to save the martyrdom that makes it okay that he killed his family.
Yeah, the sacrificial lamb, eye for an eye. Yeah.
Bullshit. I hate it. Any honorable mentions, sir?
Just in the indefensible dialogue, just you're gonna walk the walk, you gotta talk the talk, we gotta fight fire with fire. Just every cliche line.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So I don't know
should we pick it for IGC and trope, or should we just leave?
Yeah, let's give it both. This movie deserves as much hits as it can get.
I agree. Okay, that is it for tropes. There were many because it's a movie that relies a lot on things that have been done already because it's boring and formulaic.
Okay.
Let's move on to test number 6, our last test, and then we're going to do some fun stuff.
Okay.
Test number 7 is bad effects, side effects. So this is a simple test idea, but with a complex and accurate structure. We grade the movie's computer graphics and practical effects on our custom scale, and I'm going to explain that to you now. Really bad CGI, like early 90s, Deep Blue Sea. They did like sharks. They thought that they can make sharks with a computer, and they weren't there yet, and they looked god-awful. Slightly better than that, Total Recall. This was an 80s movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I try to always say that it's a good movie, but they do like a lot of claymation effects and things like that. So we tend to give movies with bad practical effects in that sense a Total Recall, or a recall as we shorthand it. Better still, Rock Scorpion. This is infamous. The introduction of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, as a half scorpion, half human god figure in like the year 2000 in The Mummy Returns. I think it was the year 2000. Anyway, the CGI is shit, but it's still the year 2000, so it looks all right, I guess. And then the best of the bad is a Beowulf score where Beowulf, the movie, was entirely computer generated. It's a little later on, so it actually looks pretty good, but it's like eerie in that it looks like kind of too good. It looks real, maybe a touch cartoon. I don't know. It's weird. So that's our best work.
It's like when you have some sleep in your eyes and you're like half awake and you're staring at someone in the room with you, and they look almost like a not real version of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So, I mean, but that would be a pretty good representation of something in a movie. Yeah. So that's our best score. All right, so let's get into it. Test number 7, bad effects side effects.
Bad CGI till the day I die.
Okay, number 1. I wrote down Deadshot's targeting system in the beginning, like when we're learning who he is.
Yeah.
Do you remember the targeting system?
It was like an iPhone on a tripod, and he had the eyepiece, and it was trying to look like Terminator 2, but didn't look like Terminator 2.
Right. So I actually jotted down what it said. Same as official dialogue, but it's not. It says range in the top left corner, 37.6 YD, so yards, I would guess. Wing in the top right corner, 5.3 FPG. Don't really know what that means.
Right.
DIF 40.1 in the bottom right, slope 1.17 degrees bottom left. There's like a target and then a structure downwards, like maybe feet. I don't know. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it says randomly 00, colon 00, colon 32, colon 26.
I'm just thinking frames per gallon for FPG.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is, dude. I think that was a name in bad credit names last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gave that a recall because for the amount of money they spent, they should have come up with something better than that.
They could have been at least T2. They could have at least been like T2, which came out in 94, 95.
Yeah, right. So the car crash with Joker and Harley, I thought it was good. I gave it a Beowulf.
I agree with that. That's fair.
The makeup, okay, this is petty, but again, this movie deserved it. The makeup, the general, I guess it's makeup, but that's whose job it is. But the general in the board meeting when they're like trying to win over the guy to make the supervillain team.
Yeah.
The general comes out and he's got like an outrageous amount of like military award pins, on his chest. It's like the dude would have had to live 3 lives to achieve that.
Yeah.
I wanted to make mention because it's the best place for it. So I gave that a recall as well.
Agree.
Okay. I did this for Waterworld, and I thought it was only fair to do it again for Suicide Squad. There's a lot of explosions that are all Beowulf, so I give them a 3 Beowulf score.
That's fair. I mean, this one thing this movie has going for it is the special effects are pretty damn good.
They're pretty good.
Aside from, I don't want to get too deep into it, but the Enchantress. But we'll get that problem.
We will. Okay. We'll probably get there at some point because the Enchantress fire smoke energy is the next thing that I had written down.
Yeah.
And I had a rock scorpion.
Okay.
Which might be a little generous, I guess.
Yeah.
Her brother's tentacles also a rock scorpion.
Yeah.
They're just not quite.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The helos, the helicopters, they little crashes and stuff, even just them flying through the city. It looked good. I gave it a Beowulf.
Okay.
So I'm knocking the Enchantress again because when she does like the dance moves and they like put it in, like they just simply fast forward it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, do these moves, and then we're just gonna like 1.5 times it, so it like looks almost natural. Well, like too fast. That's a stupid like little magic trick. So. Rock Scorpion for that. And then finally, El Diablo, when he becomes a fire god.
Yeah.
I gave that a recall because I hated that.
Yeah, I was thinking Deep Blue, but I think recall's more fair because it did look pretty good. It was just this was ill placed.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So I did the math, 1 for Deep Blue, which it didn't get, 2 for Recall, 3 for Rock Scorpion, 4 for Beowulf. Added them all up, divided by the 9 that I had, and it got an average of 3.88. So I rounded up. It got a Beowulf.
Okay.
Which I think is fair because that's the only thing that they really achieved here.
Yeah, well, it looked good. I mean, I've never seen weird helicopters fly into cities and blow up a bunch of fire monsters, but I would imagine it probably would look something like that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good job representing what was going on visually. So they got a good score for that. Good for you. All right. We'll do the illogical inconsistencies. We'll throw it over to your movie review. We'll do back credit names, compare the movies, talk about what we're going to do next week, and then we'll get out.
Sounds good.
Okay. Illogical inconsistencies, feel free to break in at any point.
Mm-hmm.
Harley runs into the prison bars for no reason. I hated that. In the beginning, she just ran face first in prison bars.
It was just meant for comic relief, I think, and it didn't work. So it's
terrible.
Stupid.
When I wanted to ask you, when we see Harley's like view and it's always distorted and like colorful and stuff, is that what she sees? Like, are we supposed to assume that she just sees the world and all these like paint splotches and like crazy distortion?
Like it's a weird bubblegum kaleidoscope or something weird like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's what they're trying to portray as like psychosis, but it's the same way as like when Harold and Kumar smoke weed and they're like in a pinball machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Whereas it's like, that's not what happens when you smoke weed. You're not in an arcade game. You're just a little high. Hello? You there?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
I understood everything you just said, though.
All right, I went through. That's the important part. Okay. Cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. So Harley gets maybe I should have put this in poor taste, but I put it here. Harley gets tortured into loving the Joker. I don't think that would. I think you'd have to be kind of nuts anyway. I don't know. I don't really get it. Killer Croc, like the character Killer Croc, is just stupid. Everything about it, I hate it.
Yeah.
The board meeting of government officials was far too brief to successfully convince them that it's okay to use a supervillain team.
Mm-hmm.
It took like minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's let them all out of prison and let them loose on New York City.
Yeah, it's something you mull over for a few weeks and squash like during a game of golf.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Rick Flag would not have any government pull, right? And Deadshot is trying to negotiate with him before he agrees to be on the team.
Okay.
We know that. We're not stupid. But Deadshot should know that. He's not that dumb.
Yeah.
Did Joker swim away from the car crash? He's just not there.
Yeah.
So he just left Harley in the car.
Yeah, he's just a dick.
Yeah, but then he's like, I need to find her.
Yeah.
Well, you left her. Why didn't they get preserved in the same bottle if the brother can fix the witch's heart problem? So,
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, good point.
If they make like a perfect being together, maybe the people that preserved you should have like put you together.
Yeah.
And then why did the heart thing matter again later if he like shoved his hand into her chest and like made it all better?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Waller just kept the brother's vial in her room.
Yeah.
And that even though she knew the Enchantress can teleport at any time.
Yeah.
Probably dumb.
Mm-hmm.
What is the bad army's motivation?
I don't think they ever told us.
Yeah, I don't like. So she just like sucks their face. They become like a weird, like poopy beehive, and then they, and then they're.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, poopy beehives.
Why did they just grab their enemies? Like they take Rick Flag and they just like there's like 6 of them. They just grab them.
Yeah,
they don't shoot them. They just
Sorry.
That's okay. I think we're both a little shot. It's all right.
Yeah.
Joker shot right in the direction of Harley on the roof when he's in the helo.
Yeah.
He could have hit her, no problem. I mean, those bullets would have gone through walls and shit. So
yeah, he's rocking like bazookas and shit. So I don't know why that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty dumb. Like he does another example if he actually doesn't care as much as she does.
Yeah.
I mentioned this before, but 3 helicopter crashes and nobody gets hurt. Nobody.
That's the amazing part. Yeah, and it's hard to believe that they're all wearing seatbelts. Like they're all idiots. They're all fucking morons. Like everybody in this movie is fucking stupid, aside from maybe Deadshot, and they're all like buckled up and worried about safety all of a sudden. So
yeah, agreed. Harley is alive, and the group is happy, right? They're happy to see her alive, but they didn't establish any chemistry. So why do they care?
Good point.
They're bad guys.
Yeah.
Deadshot to Flag. Tell everybody everything, or we're going to do this right now, right? He can't threaten Flag because Flag can just blow his head off. And if he kills Flag, then his head blows up. That's like part of the stick. So what's the threat is very empty, but then Flag proceeds to tell everybody everything anyway.
Yeah.
And Flag did not explain the Enchantress very well, or if at all. So they don't know what the Enchantress is, what her powers are. And they give up because the odds are against them.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're up against. Didn't like that. And I wanted to know what you thought the machine was. Like it's an electrical tornado storm that
I'm guessing it just sucks up other people and turns them into like her minions or something. That's what
and then there's like scenes where it's like shooting off lightning and it like cuts a boat in half and like cuts into a building or something. And I don't know how it works. I don't think they care at all how it works. And I just thought it was interesting that she has to like kind of dance in front of it for it to operate.
Yeah.
How much did Affleck get paid for his cameo, do you think?
He was Batman, right? Is that was it?
Yeah. For like a minute and a half in total.
He probably got a gross amount of money for that.
Yeah, he probably did. Did you see, so I was saying before that the Enchantress can put visions in your head.
Yeah.
So she showed everyone what they want to see, and Harley wants a normal American dream family with the Joker.
Because she's not psycho.
I guess not. She wants the thing that, a lot of people in this country want, just like a 4-member family like we have, just living the American dream, right?
Yeah.
The soldier that set off the bomb definitely had to die in the process.
Yep.
But we feel like the family murderer is the one doing the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that guy that set off the bomb got no play whatsoever. We'll never remember his name.
Yeah.
But El Diablo is the guy who gets all the sympathy for sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
He killed his wife and children.
Yeah.
The Enchantress screams, "Enough!" and then disarms everybody. Why fight him in the first place? You could just do that.
Yeah, she could just go wave her hand and be done.
Yeah. And lastly, if Waller hadn't gotten a team together, like with the Enchantress included, because she was supposed to be on the team, would she have to fight the enemy that she created? I mean, it was kind of like a chicken or the egg sort of thing. Like, had we never contemplated an evil Superman that didn't exist, might we have never like created the Enchantress or like released her into the wilderness and then therefore having to have a super villain team to combat her?
Maybe it was prophesized that she was the one to release the Enchantress, so she tried coming up with the Suicide Squad as a way to like cover her ass and like not get in trouble. Like, oh shit!
Yeah, dude. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm on board. What was that bit? We had a bit for our like early pilots that was like our crackhead theory.
Conspiracy. We had conspiracy theories. Yeah. So in this case,
theory, crackhead bullshit.
In this case, is she knew what was going to happen, so she tried getting a preventative measure set up before the shit hit the fan. The heat gets taken off of her because people are looking at them.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm willing to believe it.
I have one more inconsistency, and it's not just this
man.
movie; it's in a lot of movies.
Cool.
I first noticed this when I was a kid watching The Exorcist. When Linda Blair's character, she's possessed by the devil, and like he's just wreaking havoc on her fucking body. You see like slits showing up in her arms, and like gashes on her face, and like she's getting all bruised and beaten up and like thrown around. And then when the devil gets taken out of her, after all that trauma's done to a physical human body, fine. She's fine.
Then, while God makes the demon clean up his like after himself on the way out.
But how do you explain that for the Enchantress, where the same exact fucking thing happened? It's like you saw it was a bunch of stairs, and she was thrown so far into the stairwell that she like took out a chunk of wall,
and then, she's just like
she's just like a regular person again. Yeah.
And then once he crushes the heart, like the mud just like dries up.
Yeah, like
she's able to just take the mud mask off, and
as if every single bone in her body wouldn't be fucking shattered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess you're just when you possess a body, you're also responsible for like it's a Airbnb. Like you're kind of responsible for like, keeping it intact, like when you exit. I think so. You
could wreck the house, but you got to pick up the solo cups when you're done.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's part of the contract of possession.
Okay, fair enough.
Otherwise, God just wouldn't let you do it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? All right, Rob, do your movie review. I'm excited.
Don't be excited. This film makes a bunch of prisoners who have clear moral codes and ethics out to be a bunch of unhinged, mentally ill, antisocial sociopaths, but it's clear that they're all of sound mind and pretty self-aware. Boomerang Guy was stupid. Enchantress lacked vision. Jared Leto is a cockstain, and this movie makes no sense. There was a decent amount of underbutt from Harley, and Will Smith was kind of fun. I would rather have watched Pawn Stars. You never know what Chumlee is going to say next.
All right, man. Well done. All right. We'll get into the back credit names. We'll compare these movies. We'll talk about next week. Okay. Oh, and then I have a tiny little special Easter egg at the end.
Sure.
Okay. So let's get into it. I'm going to ramp it up as usual. So I'm going to start slow, and then hopefully by the end I have you laughing. Number 1, Clive McClean.
All right.
It's kind of cool if that's your actually. Number 2, Lindsey Graham, but not the politician.
Okay.
Number 3, Jasper Vracking.
Okay.
Vrakking. Wayne Downer.
He sounds like he's not fun to hang out with.
I agree. Number 5, Blaze Walber.
Okay.
Number 6, Shulk Azan.
All right.
Number 7, Summit Paddle. Number 8, Lindsay Gary.
I hate when it's 2 first names. That just bothers me.
Me too. Number 9, Grace. Number 10, Dean Stinchcombe.
That's good.
Number 11, Missy Dingman.
Missy Dingman?
Yeah. Number 12, Ho Chow.
Ho Chow?
Yeah, kind of fun. Number 13, Season Kent.
Season Kent.
Number 14, Nabim Babu.
Nabim Babu.
Yeah, thought that was fun. This might be your favorite. I have 2 more.
All right.
Number 15, Urs Durker. And finally, number 16, In-One Huang.
In-One Huang.
Yeah, In-One
I like that.
Huang.
In-One Huang.
Yeah. Yeah. If we were to do like a fight sequence, it'd be In-One Huang versus Grand L. Bush. But we're not going to do that.
Hey, can I pause you for 1 second? My daughter just ran out.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right. Sorry about that. What are you doing? Hey, you gotta get back to bed. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do our movie comparison here.
Okay.
I am definitely interested. Street Fighter.
Sure.
For the Keystone Apparatus got a -19.
Okay.
Suicide Squad only got a 12, so that's one in favor of Street Fighter.
Okay.
The plot pitch. Check this out. I want to see where you land on this one.
Okay.
Street Fighter got a 36, but a 2-star.
Okay.
Suicide Squad a 45, but a 3-star.
I think Suicide Squad takes it.
Okay, so they had a worse plot pitch.
They had a worse plot pitch just because, I mean, it took you way longer. I mean, I don't think the 1-star justifies the gap in time.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Street Fighter and Suicide Squad had a 14 for indefensible dialogue.
Okay.
I can't believe there were as many bad lines in Suicide Squad as there were Street Fighter. That's crazy. Shame on you for 2016. Be that bad. Emote, we gave the highest register from the emotometer was a 27 in Street Fighter and a 26 in Suicide Squad. So a narrow victory for Street Fighter. That's 2-1. 2-1 with the wash on IDC. Taste test, only a 7 from Suicide Squad, an 11 from Street Fighter.
Okay.
Unfortunately, tropes 16. That's going to be unbeatable.
Yeah.
From Street Fighter, 16 tropes. 13 from Suicide Squad. Very respectable score. And then, of course, Street Fighter had a deep recall for bad effects, side effects, and we gave a big wolf to Suicide Squad. So in a squash match here, Street Fighter takes it 2-5-1 with a wash. 5-1. And Suicide Squad was bad.
Yeah.
So we're going to, do you want to announce what we're going to watch next week?
Yeah, because off air, Chris and I both agreed that Will Smith was the only redeeming quality for this movie. So we decided let's find one of the movies that, in Chris's words, kind of put a nail into the momentum of Will Smith. And we will be watching Wild Wild West.
Hell yeah. I can't wait.
I watched it all the time when I was a kid, and
Me too.
we also talked about this. I loved the steampunk shit, but you made some points that opened my eyes a little bit, so I'm probably not going to enjoy it as much when I watch it this time around.
Good. You're not supposed to.
Okay.
All right, so here's my little Easter egg I teased.
Okay.
We haven't yet done a ranking for all the movies official, so I now know what the ranking is. We have Street Fighter still number 1.
Okay.
Street Fighter is still the worst movie ever made.
Sure.
But Suicide Squad put up a good fight and falls into line at number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, Waterworld.
All right.
Number 4, Armageddon.
Okay.
Number 5, The Wicker Man.
All right.
Number 6, Over the Top.
Okay.
So that is our descending order. We know what the 6th worst movie ever made is, all the way to the 1st.
Okay.
As of right now, having passed each one of these through our filter. That's what we do.
Okay.
We filter it down, and now we know what the top 6 are. So let's keep chugging along with Wild Wild West.
Okay.
I am excited for next week. I think we did a good job here, buddy.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I can't wait to check out the episode. I hope you guys are having fun giving it a listen. Give us a shout out at our Gmail, bombfilterpod@gmail.com, or our Instagram page, the Bomb Filter Podcast.
Yep, and we're also on Spotify, Anchor FM, Pocket Casts, Google Casts. We're working on iTunes. We're working on YouTube. Who would have thunk that YouTube would be so fucking difficult to get a pod on? It's probably surprisingly easy, but I don't know what I'm doing. So,
well, you've done a very good job so far, and I appreciate all the hard work. I know I've heard that iTunes is tough. Like they put it through a lot of verification to make sure that we're not saying anything too shitty or anything.
Yeah, it's the metadata thing too. Like if the capital letters don't match the capital letters on another platform or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of those bullshit things, but it is what it is. But this has been the Bomb Filter. So thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.